welcome everyone to our financial meeting for pension. And we got a few commissioners and some other folks here. Is there anything, Ms. Administrator, before we get started?
There's none.
Madam Administrator, before we get started. Ms. Borowski, you okay? All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Donna Williams. Or who should I turn it over to, Ms. Williams?
Ms. Nancy to read the agenda.
Okay, Ms. Rancy, she said you need to read the agenda.
Okay. Item 1 is a presentation of the second quarter ending June 30th, 2022 investment reports for the 1945 and 1949 pension plans. Ms. Heather Ziegler with Morgan Stanley.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for having me today. We're going to go through and talk about the second quarter, and I'll bring you up to date on where we are through the end of July as well, so we have that information just readily available. So, very good. Thank you. All right. I think when I was here in May, I know that Commissioner Williams and Commissioner Hassan were here for that meeting. I'm not sure if you remember the very end of that meeting, the last thing I said was, when I come back and give you the second quarter report, it will not, it will be a rough report. And so we are here. And I didn't expect it to be quite as rough as it was, but the market has definitely been a roller coaster ride for us. If you look at the second quarter, we broke records across the asset classes, and not in a good way. Many of asset classes, when you go through and look at everything, was difficult to avoid negative returns based upon the Federal Reserve initiating their monetary and quantitative tightening policy, really trying to fight inflation. Corporate earnings forecasts had remained relatively consistent throughout the quarter, but consumers and investors navigated higher inflation, soaring commodity prices, rising interest rates, alongside of supply chain rebalancing. Take all of those with the geopolitical turmoil that was still continuing and the continuation of the COVID pressures. All of these factors led to expectations for slower growth and eventually lower corporate earnings, and a lot of inflation-driven recession conversations and speculation. And so the market, whether you held stocks, bonds, crypto, all were negative. The only thing that was really strong coming through the quarter was the U.S. dollar. And so in light of the persistent elevated inflation readings that we had, the Fed started their Fed tightening policy in the second quarter. And so when we had met previously in May, they had raised rates in March by 25 basis points. And in May, we raised it by another 50 basis points. In June, 75, and then another 75 in July since the end of our quarterly report. And so our expectations are for going forward that the Federal Reserve will raise another 50 to 75 basis points in September, and continue the tightening through the end of the year. There have been speculations that the Fed may pivot and move more towards a cutting of interest rates. I think that's speculation on the market's part, and we haven't seen that really play through. When we look at the Fed futures, which really kind of tell us what the market thinks is going to happen, investors are thinking that the Fed may pivot and start cutting rates. The market doesn't see that until later, really looking more towards July at this point of 2023. And so when we look at the continuation that we've experienced with higher oil prices, everywhere you go, that's what people were talking about. We're talking about inflation at the grocery store, inflation at the gas pump, and that is going to move forward through to, we think, will eventually start to put a little downgrade on the thought process of corporate earnings, because higher costs is going to really affect that going forward. And so when you look at the chart that I have here for you, this is just showing the second quarter. And you can see in equities, we really did have a rough turn. Look at the major indices for the quarter. The S&P 500 for the second quarter of the year was down 16%. The Russell Mid-Cap Index, which is your mid-sized companies in the U.S., down 16.85%. And then the smallest companies in the U.S. down 17.2%. When you look at the sector breakdown at the bottom of the page, you can see there was no sector to hide in for the second quarter of the year. All experienced a negative return. This page gives you a look at where we were on an international basis. And so if you look at the MSCI, which we look at the EFA, which is your developed index, which is the top, for the quarter they were down as well, 14.5%. And the emerging markets down 11.3%. So it wasn't just isolated to the U.S., it was across the board. And then taking a look at the bond indexes. And so if you look at the Bloomberg Barclays aggregate, which is what we use as a proxy for the overall U.S. bond market, down 4.69% for the quarter. Bonds overall, we've had, since the Fed has started hiking interest rates, we've seen 40-year record numbers in returns for bonds. And so 40-year record to the downside, not to the positive. And so, like I said, there was really nowhere to hide in the U.S. or the international markets for investments for the second quarter of the year. Looks a little better when we go through July, but we'll get through the bad till we get to the good. And so when we look at the 1949 plan, you can see that we started, this is the beginning of the fiscal year $83,626,798. We had net contributions in of $2,313,734. And for the total fiscal year to date, a negative of $14,030,309, which brought us to the ending market value of $67,282,756. Most of that loss coming in the second quarter, being down $9,768,860. If you look on the left-hand side, you can see our breakdown by asset classes, and you can see we currently had domestic equities right at 59%. International at 13%, with total equity at 72.5%, and then your fixed income investments at 26.7%. We always keep a little bit of cash for our monthly distributions, and so that was a little bit less than 1% at the end of the quarter. From a breakdown on a manager by manager performance basis, you can see for the quarter, NFJ, which is your large cap value manager, down 9.48%. They were actually ahead of their benchmark, which was down 12.21%. You had Atlanta, which is your large cap core, so they'll have growth and core stocks, a little bit of value sprinkled in there, down 17.86%, a little bit trailing their benchmark, which was down 16.1%. MDT, which is your all cap go anywhere manager for the U.S., down 16.78%, right in line with their benchmark. We had your international Lazard, which is your more developed international manager, around 12.2%. Ahead of their benchmark, and Thornburg International down 13.1%, which was slightly ahead of their benchmark as well. PIMCO, which is your fixed income manager, down 5%, trailed a little bit, just slightly, because the benchmark being down 4.69 and them being down 5 for the quarter. No concerns there, just a little bit of a slight underperformance. But that gave us with the total return for cash, with the cash that we keep on hand for the quarter, down 12.23%, which brings your fiscal year-to-date performance down 16.5%. Any questions on the June numbers before I give you the update through July? Okay. So this is the update through July. It's a little bit better of a picture. So we were down 16%, and now we're down 12.1%. And if I actually looked at the numbers through last night just to tell you mid-month where we are, and we're actually right now, and this was through yesterday, down 9.9%. So it's an even better picture. The last month, July and August, have so far been very positive, and so we're starting to see a reversal of that action from the downturn. It's going to take us a little while to get back to square, but definitely an improvement on where we were through the end of the quarter. If we move on to the 1945 plan, you'll see very similar results. Begin the fiscal year at $6,109,459. We had net contributions of a negative $70,830 to pay benefits. Investment gain of a negative $908,110 gave us the ending market value of $5,130,520. Breakdown on the left-hand side for the asset allocation. This plan does not have international exposure because it is considered a small plan by the state of Georgia. And so we have total equity of 53.84% and fixed income of 44.48%. Keep a little bit of cash on the hand for this one as well at 1.68%. Okay, and then the breakdown of performance by manager. Large cap value manager, NFJ, down 9.3% for the quarter, versus the benchmark of 12.2. At Atlanta, down 18.1 versus the benchmark down 16.1. We had MDT down 16.7 versus their benchmark of 16.7, so right in line. PIMCO down 5. And then we had the total return with the cash for the quarter down 10.19%, or the fiscal year of down 14.18%. Now the 45 plan through July is down 10.2%, and so that an improvement there as well. And then through last night, it was down 8.5%. I will say that I don't want to say that we think that the market has seen the worst of the days, because we still could have volatility between now and the end of the year. And so just with the expectation being the fact that this is a midterm election year, historically that is a very volatile year in the stock market and in the bond market as well. And we're going through the Fed policy that we have, policy changes. And so I don't want to leave you with the expectation that it's going to be a rosy picture between here and the end of the year, because I do expect that we are going to continue to see market volatility. Where expectations are that we will work through this, that we are in what we call a cyclical bear market within a bull market cycle, just meaning that we think this downturn is not long term. We think that we will run through this just like we have historically. And if you look in the past and you look at a midterm election year, historically the market in a midterm election year has been down on average around 16%, and 1 year later positive 34%. And so when we look at those averages, we can say that unless history does not repeat itself, which doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen immediately, but we know 1 year out, every time that this has happened, the market has been higher. So just want to kind of set the expectations that we still could have some volatility between now and the end of the year. Happy to take any questions that you have on the market, the portfolio.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hassan.
Yes, I have a question. The question is, how many pensioners are in the 45 plan at this point?
So I have the last actuarial evaluation that I have was done effective January 1st of 2020. I have not seen the 2021 yet. I'm not sure that that's already. So and you said the 45 plan?
Yes, ma'am.
The 45 plan at that point had active of 0. There were no active participants, 20 retirees or disabled participants.
Okay. In terms of the market as a whole, has the market ever went through this? I mean, I know it's COVID driven, which end up supplies was not with the trucking industry, the boat industry, all of those types of things. It always be jobs always be there. No jobs, but there are plenty of jobs. People just seem to work. There are many businesses that's operating half a day because they can't find workers. So it's very unique in terms of what is happening. Or is it unique in terms of what is driving this economy at this time?
I think it is unique. I think when you see the market performance, we've been through much worse from a market performance standpoint than we're seeing today. But when you look at, and we look at where we expect typically if we're going into a recession, and if the technical term, the GDP was negative, and so from a technical standpoint, we are in a recession. But we are not in a credit-driven recession. We're in an inflation-driven recession. And so typically when you see those, and we have seen similar situations historically, when you see employment where it is, you see earnings forecasts where they are, and we see the GDP numbers where they are, we expect if we are going into a recession, if this is a true recession, which number to get revised, it will be shallow and short, versus when we have gone into this from a credit-driven perspective, they are much longer and much deeper. And so that leads us to believe that this one will be a shorter experience.
It also is, when you look at the price of gas that is on the decline, does it also give us some level of confidence that we're headed in the right direction?
I think so. When you look at nationally, the numbers that came out a couple of weeks ago said that nationally the average gas price was down about 15%. I think you've seen that come down even more since then. And so as those numbers come down, it is certainly going to make people feel a little bit better about spending. One of the interesting things about this whole market environment is that we have not seen, when you look at consumer spending has not slowed down.
Exactly.
And so that's kept the economy at a little bit higher level than we would have expected to see.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
All right, anybody else? Ms. Williams? you have anything?
No, sir. Motion to receive his information?
I guess I have to do a second.
You need a second?
You doing a
Second.
second? He's doing a second. We got a motion to receive this information, and Ms. Borowski, are we gonna just say aye, or we're gonna put it on the machine?
You can raise your hand.
You can raise your hand. Well, all in favor, just raise your hand. Any nays? Any abstentions? I think the ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Is that it? All right, meeting adjourned.
If you can take your seats and cease all conversations, we're going to convene our meeting. Good afternoon. I hope everyone's doing well. We're here to do the people's business. Madam Clerk,
Yes, sir.
call the meeting to order.
Okay. Call your attention to the invocation portion of our agenda, which will be shared with us today by Reverend Gary Carr, pastor of the First Baptist Church of Keysville. After which, we would like to ask Mr. Benish Brown, our director of our Augusta Conventions and Visitors Bureau, to please lead us in our pledge of allegiance. Thank you, in that order. Please stand.
Eternal God, we are grateful that you allowed us to be here this day. And we say thank you for that. Thank you for living in a country that has democracy and freedom. Thank you, God, for being able to allow us to elect officials, God, that would do the business of your people. Today, God, we humbly ask that you would order our steps in your word. That, God, we would do what's pleasing in your sight. I ask that you would continue to let us be faithful, let us be focused, and let us be fruitful. Continue, God, to allow this community to have compassion and courage. Oh, God, that they would look after the ones who are less fortunate. We pray now, Master, that you would look down upon us now, that as we do your will, your grace and your mercy shall always abide within us. And Father, now, bless these commissioners and the mayor and all of these that have issues that they want to discuss. Let it be done with clarity. Let it be done with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And we thank you now for listening as you always do. And we thank you for answering like only you can do. And then, Master, allow the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts to be acceptable in thy sight. For you are our strength and our Redeemer. For it is in your matchless name we pray. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You know him? Reverend Carr, before you leave, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
We want to thank you so much for taking the time to come and pray for us. We truly appreciate your consideration, and we value the spiritual insight and guidance you shared with us. We receive your thoughtfulness as an act of service for God. May he bless you with peace and love for your kindness shown toward us today. Again, thank you. By these presents be it known that Reverend Gary Carr, pastor of the First Baptist Church of Keysville, is chaplain of the day. May his spiritual guidance and civic leadership serve as an example for all citizens of Augusta. Given under my hand this 16th day of August, 2022, Hardy Davis Jr., Mayor. Thank you again, sir.
Would you join me in congratulating Reverend Carr? Thank you.
Thank all of you.
Madam Clerk, before we go too far, I want to take an opportunity and acknowledge a few things. I'm pleased to welcome almost 5,000 delegates from across the country and some across the globe to the Garden City of Augusta, Georgia. what is quickly becoming the cybersecurity capital of the nation, for the 2022 AFCEA's TechNet Conference. We kicked off this morning. They are there at the Marriott Convention and Conference Center with a theme focused on designing and deploying a unified network. We're very fortunate as a community to have Fort Gordon here, but also to be home of some 64,000 plus service members and or their families who make up this community. And we're pleased that they continue to choose Augusta for this 3-day conference where military, government, and industry speakers, panels, and breakout sessions are taking place, as well as a trade show floor with the best and the brightest of minds, but also the most significant technologies. Augusta has quickly become, in the words of my friend Lieutenant General Stephen Fogarty, the military's power projection platform for all things cyber. For that, all of us can and should be proud of what's taking place in our city as we meet the needs when it comes to a threat to democracy. I also want to take an opportunity to acknowledge our city's successes. You can't do good things or big things without having really great people who do the work. And for that, I want to continue to rant and rave about Augusta's employees. Just here in the last few days, because of partnerships and also incredible staff, I'm pleased first and foremost to acknowledge that the Augusta Transit Department, with the legislative support of U.S. Senator Warnock, will receive $6.27 million grant back to the Augusta Transit Goes Electric initiative. And that's a project that's aimed at integrating our electric buses into the transit system. Now, that's good news. Over the last several years, this local government, through efforts of our staff, has been more competitive and successful in terms of getting federal grants. Again, thank you so much for that. I want to particularly thank Ms. Daughtery and Mr. Page for their ongoing leadership and the rest of the team for Augusta's transit system. We move beyond this place of talking about, well, you know, it's just a bus system. It's not. It's a way for us, from an economic mobility standpoint, to provide all of Augustans with an opportunity to get from here to there. I'm reminded of, there's sometimes this news clip, where in Augusta's George? I've got one better than that. Where in Augusta are our citizens, and where can we take them with Augusta's transit? And kudos to you for the incredible work that you're doing. Ms. Dowse, thank you for working with them to help make these things happen. I would be remiss if I stopped there. I also want to recognize our Information Technology Department, who's also being recognized as the 2022 winner of the Government Management Information Sciences G2 Business Award, presented by GMIS International. This award recognizes Augusta's IT department for its implementation of an open data catalog hub webpage. That's good work that was started, and we continue to see strides. If our city is going to be a smart, inclusive, and equitable city, these are the types of things that have to happen and that have to get done. And we're going to continue to champion those things as we move forward as a city. On yesterday, several of us were part of a delegation with Senator John Ossoff. It's always good when you got U.S. senators who actually do work for the people. And on yesterday, he came to share with us the great news. In fact, President Biden is signing into law the Affordable Insulin Act as part of his Inflation Reduction Act. That's good news, because insulin on January 1, 2023 will be capped at $35 for those individuals. It's a matter of life and death for individuals who need insulin. And so we're very fortunate to have good quality U.S. senators who are working in a bipartisan fashion for all Georgians, not just some. And that's the work of the Augusta Commission. As a side note, oftentimes, much to the chagrin of many, we have to mention things like COVID. COVID is still real, and I don't want anyone to forget that we have to still do these things, the 3 W's. Watch your distance, wash your hands consistently, and when necessary, wear a mask, because COVID is still real. And I was alerted on yesterday that we've seen our first case of monkeypox in our community, which is even more reason why we should wash our hands, watch our distance, and wear a mask. We are, in fact, our brothers and our sisters' keepers, Augusta Press. And with that, Madam Clerk, I turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, Commissioner Catherine McKnight is out of the county today. However, she would like to participate in today's meeting through teleconference. So at this time, I will get Commissioner McKnight on the line.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless. The number you dialed has...
Hold on just a moment.
On a lighter note, I just found out that T-Mobile has the fastest network in the country. They are now number 1.
This is Commissioner Catherine Smith McKnight. I am unable to take your call right now, but if you will leave your name and number, I will call you back. Thank you. At the tone, please record your message. When you finish recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Commissioner McKnight. We're in the commission meeting. We were trying to reach you. We will try to contact you shortly. Thank you. Okay. We'll proceed. I call your attention to the recognition portion of our agenda. The Augusta Commission would like to offer its congratulations to Mr. Charles Meyer, July 2022 Employee of the Month. Would you please come forward along with your department directors or any coworkers or family who would like to join you in this recognition? Mr. Mayor, he's not feeling good today. As the mayor makes his way forward, the Employee Recognition Committee has selected Charles Meyer as the July 2022 Employee of the Month for the City of Augusta. He has worked with the Augusta Regional Airport and has been employed with the City of Augusta for 5 years. Charles comes from the Central Services Department to the Augusta Regional Airport to take the position of Airport Maintenance Electrician. His performance in Central Services, being of high caliber, certainly has transferred well to his new position. Charles has brought with him a great initiative to learn and to take on new challenges without any hesitation. His positive attitude has turned into quick successes for him in the airport's maintenance department. Charles's talents, ideas, and helpfulness beyond his duties has been displayed immediately upon their arrival and has been great access to the department during the department limited staffing position. Paul says, personally, I want to thank him and express my executive director of the airport greatest appreciation for all he has accomplished in such a limited time since April of this year. We continue our support as you being successful forward. Based on this nomination and Charles's outstanding service, the Employee Recognition Committee would appreciate you in joining us in recognizing him as the July 2022 Employee of the Month. Congratulations again. Call your attention to the delegation portion of our agenda. Item number C, Mr. Benish Brown, Destination Augusta, relative to milestones and successes of the tourism year to date.
Thank you so much. I am Benish Brown, Destination Augusta. Our physical address is 1010 Broad Street in downtown Augusta. And crank this up.
And as Mr. Brown gets ready to make his presentation, I'd like to address the commission on item B and F, which will be deleted from today's agenda at the petitioner's request.
Thank you, and I'm sorry, I think.
That will be item B and item F. Dr. Callie Oldfield from the Finney Center and Ms. Sharon Ellison.
Look at that. Thank you. Okay. Now I'm ready. Thank you so much to Mayor and the commissioners. I will certainly be aware of my time limit here. Would love to share with you, this is our second presentation in front of you this year, and for this slide I'll simply say for us, everything starts here with our vision and our mission, and if we succeed at these, definitely Augusta's visitor economy will continue to grow. Speaking of growth, our leisure and hospitality jobs are making a rebound. We're nearly 7% above employment numbers that we saw in 2019. So we're a long way from where we were when you see that dip there in early 2020. And then on the far right, again, evidence that we're still recovering as a leisure and hospitality industry. We are now the fourth largest employment sector in the region. Previously, pre-pandemic, we were at number 3, so we continue to climb. We also continue to celebrate the workers who are there on the front line. In May, we had our National Travel and Tourism Week celebration honoring our Masters of Hospitality winners. And these are, throughout the year, hotel guests complete comment cards for frontline staff at hotels. It's for those who provide excellent customer service, and I do want to thank the mayor for coming out and joining us for this event. I know he made it very special for Madison Hamilton, who is our 2022 Masters of Hospitality winner. On the topic of hotels, throughout June, all of the metrics for our hotels are still moving in the right direction for us. You can see on your chart that you have, the green numbers are showing that everything is moving upward with the exception of our supply, and we think the supply is just simply some properties who might not have enough staff to to manage a lot of the capabilities, are taking some of their rooms out of service, but otherwise, every single metric that really matters to our industry here is on the move over 2019. We've been taking care of business, and we've been bringing in business to Augusta this year. So through July, you see this chart, we've had 66 what we call arrivals. Those are our meetings, conventions, and events. They have had a huge impact on this community, $29 million in visitor spending. I know sales tax revenues are up for the city of Augusta, and I have to believe that a lot of this also contributes to our local sales tax. You also see the sample events in that chart on the side, and there is more to come. Actually, in August and September, we see a strong 2 months. The mayor already mentioned TechNet, which is in town today, starts today, about 5,000 people from around the country and from outside the country. Marketing and branding are extremely important to us to continue bringing awareness to Augusta, and we're thrilled to roll out. I left a copy, or you have a copy. Thank you, Commissioner Hassan. But you have a copy of our new experience guide at your desk. We think internally it's our best guide yet, and I hope you'll find it very useful as well. I'm also very proud of our very active and engaging social media activities. Both of these marketing tools, our guide and our social media efforts, are very important for us as they speak as much to visitors as they do to our area residents. And finally, you also see the header on that top right. It's our digital quarterly report that we send to you. It dives deeper into all of the areas of our work. So I hope when that pops up on your screen of your phone or your computer that you'll take a look at this quarterly report. Our film efforts continue to be strong. They remain strong, and you can see more about film in our quarterly report. But what we have here, we're celebrating the release of The Royal. We had a private screening at Riverwatch Cinemas, and it was the last production to actually use the jail. Brought in great economic impact for us in 2019, and I do want to thank all of the commissioners that joined us for this fun event. Warren Ostergaard, you see him there in the blue shirt center, in that center photo, really loves Augusta, and we're going to be hearing a lot more really good things, I think, in film from Warren. We'll share that my board has begun the organization's strategic planning that will guide us through the next 4 to 5 years, and we're following an industry model that's called Destination Next. Many of you, thank you, you completed a very extensive survey that went out as part of this process, and we will be sharing with you some of the feedback we got from the open-ended responses in that survey. I think it will help the city as well as our organization as we all work to make Augusta a better place tomorrow than it was yesterday. Just one little announcement here. We are so honored that we have received reaccreditation. Destination Augusta, or well, the Augusta Convention and Visitors Bureau in the day, was actually the first entity in Georgia to achieve our industry's accreditation. This summer we were reaccredited, and you see the competencies there that we had to pass. We're excited about this, and we do feel like it makes a very positive reflection on the city of Augusta. And finally, on just a wonderful celebratory note, Michelle Bovan, many of you know her as Cousin Michelle. She is one of those stories, I say, where the person starts at the entry-level desk, and through effort, determination, and uncanny natural wisdom, she is now our Director of Group Business Development. It was formerly, we call it our sales team, but Michelle hit number 25 with our organization on August 4th. She is the only person who has that length of tenure with us, so we celebrate Michelle today. So thank you, Mayor, thank you, Commissioners, for your ongoing support of the work we do, and we're always glad to be a partner with Augusta, always glad to sell Augusta as the place for meetings, conferences, and events. Thank you so much.
Outstanding. Are there any questions for Mr. Brown? I want to say thank you. Again, we've communicated over the last couple of days, and the work that we see taking place is just phenomenal. You and your team are doing an amazing job. Let's keep it going.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor and the members of the commission, Commissioner McKnight has joined our meeting.
Thank you.
Right, Commissioner McKnight? We can't hear you. Barely. We'll work on that. Our next delegation, Ms. Jo Ray Jenkins, regarding transportation issues with the Olive Road area and other city districts.
Hello, everyone. Hi, my name is Jeray Jenkins, and I'm here today in regards to the citizens of Augusta, Richmond County. My main issue, well, first let me go ahead and let me give a kudos to Mr. John Clark, Mr. Dennis Williams, and Francine Scott for being very helpful in getting the issue handled. My issue is that I have reached out to Mr. Dennis Williams in November of 2021 in regards to seating for those that lived on Olive Road and other areas in a predominantly low-income areas of color. And I am confused and very upset as to why it takes approximately 7 months for our seniors and citizens to have somewhere to sit, to not have to stand behind in trees, run over to gas stations, and to be wet. I've also contacted the Transportation Department, in which she was very nice. So I want to give her kudos as well. She actually came out, talked to the citizens, and talked to the people and understood what was needed, as well as some other department heads. I've reached out several times to other department heads that I'm not going to go ahead and mention their name, but refuse to even have any conversation in regards to helping the city. And that's a serious, serious, serious problem for me when you are paid by the city to help the city. I don't know what else can be done, or why we have to wait approximately 8 months for the seniors, or not just seniors, but anybody to have a seating. I also put in a request over to the department because I want to know the difference in the time frame that seating and transportation is taken care of from District 1 and 2 versus 3 and 8. And I know to some it may sound a little, based upon color, but that's an issue for me. How come our seatings on Washington Road are being taken care of faster when they're torn down versus our people that are sitting downtown on Broad Street, on Olive Road, in predominantly black areas? So if anyone has an answer, I'll be more than happy to accept it.
Is that your presentation, Ms. Jenkins?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. All right, are there any questions?
Can you hear me, Ms. Vaughn? Okay.
All right, there are no questions.
Mr. Mayor.
All right. The commissioner from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Jenkins, for bringing this to our attention. The transportation and the bus has been very big in my wheelhouse, and Ms. Doherty is actually a great director. She does what she can with what she got, and I'm happy to hear that she's getting another $6 million so that we can get some more buses and things out there. One of the big concerns that I have, along with you, is shelters. We go to other metropolitan cities that, people want to rag us out about going, but when we go, some of us actually go learn things and look at things, and one of the things that I look at is transportation in those cities. It amazes me as to the different concepts of public transit that other cities has. It seems to work for them. Bus stops don't have to be uniform. The shelters are decorative and they're different. They don't have to be, like I say, uniformed. I think that's what we're trying to move toward, is uniform, but we're also trying to move toward bus shelters that's going to be safe for the riders with lights in it and solar energy in it. We have two gentlemen with the Augusta Economic Development that are getting more business into the outer reaches, which we're going to have to expand our transit service. We're going to have to. There's no two ways about it. I can't answer directly a couple of the questions that you've asked because I've asked them myself and can't get an answer. But we're working on it. We'll continue to work on it. And Ms. Doherty, I can sincerely say she will continue to work on it. Our transit system is being heavily used right now. That's a good thing for Augusta. So any updates coming, we'll be sure to pass them along to you.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it because everyone was given an email, every single commissioner, and a text message in regards to the pictures and the situation, and hopefully it will be just an issue that is a true concern and a true care for the people because once again, you know, hopefully in November, they may need that transportation to vote for you guys. Have a good one.
Madam Clerk, next item.
Our next delegation, Mr. Kevin Diego, relative to citizens' concerns for the repair restoration of the Emily Tubman Monument on Green Street destroyed by an auto accident on July 28th.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to be here again today to talk to you. I'm Kevin DeLagle. I'm at 636 11th Street in downtown Augusta. And last month, I came down here to address the body about the state of the landscaping on Green Street around the Emily Tubman Monument. And now the grass has been cut, but the monument's gone. And sadly, we all know that on July 28th, a vehicle that was out of control smashed into the monument at 7th and Green. And the pieces are still sitting there 3 weeks later. The columns are smashed. The pieces are all over the place in the middle of the median on Green Street. And these marble pieces, that some of them are probably irreplaceable these days, are subject to further damage and theft. The monument to this great philanthropist, Emily Tubman, was created with funds raised by a woman who attended the First Christian Church. A committee was formed, and the state of Georgia erected the monument in 1994. Then the monument, I understand, passed into the hands of the city, which has maintained it for the last 28 years. On this past Friday, I had a good meeting with Director McDowell and Deputy Director Fulton from Parks and Recreation, and I was really encouraged at the prospect of partnerships we can create between the public and parks to beautify Augusta. However, I got the sense about the Tubman Monument that the city might try to step away from responsibility for this monument, and the ownership might come into question. So I gather the matters being addressed by legal, and a determination has to first need to be made about the driver's insurance coverage and paying for the repair or replacement of the monument. But I've gotten so many calls and messages about this from people who went to Tubman, people who attend the church. Several women pointed out that there are only two monuments in Augusta to women, the other being the Lucy Laney monument. And we know that Tubman was such an amazing woman. I mean, she built First Christian Church, numerous educational institutions in the city. And also what I find truly courageous and progressive for her time is that once her husband died, she managed to go, she went all the way to Washington to make sure that 144 slaves that they previously owned were freed or given passage to Liberia. So she really, at that time in the 1830s, for a woman to do that, just is mind-blowing, and she really deserves our respect for the progressiveness and the vision of her time. So I'm just here to urge the city to really step up and take action about this monument and to take responsibility for it, because she's a remarkable woman. She means so much to the citizens of Augusta, and we can't allow these pieces just to lie there in the middle of the street where everyone can see it. I mean, at least to have the pieces collected, taken somewhere safe where they can be recovered, hopefully repaired, and if not, then replaced with something of equal stature. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Chair recognizes the commissioner from the 8th.
Thank you, Mayor. This question is actually for the administrator. And thank you, Mr. DeLego, for coming and speaking. And, it is a shame that those pieces are still sitting there. But in regards to this repair replacement, wouldn't the car insurance be responsible for this of the person that hit the monument?
At this moment, I think the delegate just stated that they are awaiting the information from the car insurance, so that would be a determining factor as to what type of insurance the driver had.
But in regards to getting this cleaned up, I think that's something that we should definitely take care of. And, if there are costs related to that, make sure that we're keeping those records.
Sure, absolutely.
Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 1st.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I heard Mr. DeLego say that legal is looking into some of this stuff. Are we aware of the ownership of the monument? He raised concerns about ownership. I think that's very important in this conversation. Are we anywhere with that yet?
Administrator Dowse.
Commissioner, not to my knowledge, we do not have an update concerning the ownership.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right, the work will continue. We'll get additional progress updates as we move forward. Madam Clerk, next item.
Call your attention to the consent agenda, which consists of items 1 through 20. Items 1 through 20. For the benefit of any objectors to our planning petitions, once the petition is read, would you please signify your objections by raising your hand? Call your attention to item number 1 is a request for a special exception to establish a family personal care home at property located at 3749 Crest Drive. Item number 2.
Ms. Bonner.
Hold on.
That's number 1.
Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, I think we have some objectors. They want the denial for number 1, so they just want to let you know that they're here, Ms. Bonner.
Okay.
Yeah, they support the denial.
These are the objectors, right?
That is correct.
Okay. How many?
All right, so everybody suspend. Madam Clerk, you have individuals who are in the audience who raise their hands.
Right.
They support denial of the petition. That is why they're here. They are in support of denial of the petition as noted on item 1.
Right. So when I call for objectors, and then we will call for those that are in support. So that's where the confusion came in.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So
I'm tracking.
You're okay?
I'm
all
good.
Right. So there are no objectors to the denial?
No. Well, yes. You have 2.
We have 2.
3. I'm going to translate that for those of you in the audience. On item 1 of the agenda, those 3 individuals are fully supportive of the rezoning petition, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The others are in opposition to the rezoning petition. Okay. I fully understand and track. The commission does as well. All right.
Okay.
And in concurrence with what's on the agenda, it reads as such. So I think everybody's clear. Chair recognizes the commissioner from the 1st. State your inquiry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wanted to, number 27 on the agenda.
Okay, we hadn't gotten there yet,
Okay,
I don't think.
just making sure.
Madam Clerk was going through submission. Yeah.
Call your attention to item number 2.
I didn't realize we had racehorses in here today.
Requesting a rezoning from a Zone A agriculture and a Zone RH manufactured home residential to a Zone R1E1 family residential affecting property located at 2427 Boykin Road. Item number 3 is a request for a rezoning from a Zone P1 professional office to a Zone R3B multiple family residential affecting property located at 2125 Bayville Road. Item number 4 is a request for a rezoning from a Zone A agriculture to a Zone R3B multiple family residential affecting property at 1243, 3736, 3738, and 3742 Wheeler Road. Item number 5 is a request for approval requesting a rezoning from a Zone A agriculture and a Zone R1A1 family residential to an R3B multiple family residential affecting property at 1936 Windsor Spring Road. Item number 6 is a request for concurrence for approval requesting a rezoning from a Zone B1 neighborhood business and a Zone B2 general business to a Zone B2 general business affecting property located at 108 Sherwood Drive and 2853 Washington Road. Are there any objectors or supporters of the petitions just read? Okay.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
For any objectors to our alcohol petition, call your attention to item number 7. Motion to approve a retail package liquor, beer, and wine license to be used in connection with the location at 2009 Louisa Road. Item number 8 is the request for an extension of a retail package liquor, beer, and wine license property located at 2184 Gordon Highway. Are there any objectors to any of these alcohol petitions? Okay. Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, our consent agenda consists of items 1 through 23. We have 3 objectors to item number 1, planning petition, and 23 in support.
Thank you,
And
Madam.
no objectors on our alcohol petitions.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Chair recognizes the Commissioner from the 7th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to add agenda item number 21 to the consent agenda. 21.
And number 25. Chair recognizes the Commissioner from the 4th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to pull 11. I need some little discussion on number 11, please.
Number 11. Okay. Commissioner from the 6th, you were objecting to number 25?
No, sir, go ahead, Mr. Mayor, it's fine.
Okay. All right. Pulling item number 11 from consent, Madam Clerk. All right. Chair recognizes the Commissioner from the 6th.
No, sir, I'm fine.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
All right. Chair recognizes the Commissioner from the 1st.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just had a question about item number 27. Do we need to pull that and send it? I believe that matter's been taken care of by administration. I guess that question's for the administrator.
Well, I thought we were going to get an update today.
I just want to make sure that we're good, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Are we still good to have it on the agenda today? Okay, all right. Thank you, sir.
Chair recognizes the Commissioner from the 4th for a motion.
Motion to approve adding 21 and 25 and pulling 11.
It's Mr. Franum and Mr. Mason?
Yes,
What's
ma'am.
that? Okay. Are we pulling 1?
Number 11.
11.
We're not pulling number
Okay.
1. I mean, 1 is good.
Okay.
All right, everybody suspend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. item number 1 is being pulled from the consent agenda. Yeah, item 1 is being pulled from the consent agenda. And the petition. Yeah, because we have objectors. Yeah. All right. We're adding number 1 before we vote. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Our consent agenda consists of the following items. Voting. It's a good day already.
Mr. Garrett, okay. Before we publish the vote, Commissioner McKnight, we're voting on the consent agenda, and I need to check to see how you will be voting.
Yes.
Okay, we can publish the rest. It's unanimous, with Commissioner McKnight voting yes.
Number 1.
Okay. Call your attention to item number 1, a request for concurrence with the Augusta Planning Commission to deny petition requesting a special exception to establish a family personal care home at property located at 3749 Crest Drive.
All right, here's our posture. We're going to hear from the objectors. We will hear the petition first, and then we will hear from our objectors. All right, Chair recognizes Director Delaney.
Good afternoon. The Planning and Development Department and the Planning Commission have recommended denial of the application to expand a personal care home located on Crest Drive in Hepzibah, Georgia. One of the reasons, or the primary reason for the denial, or the recommendation for denial, is because on, I would say about 3 days before the actual meeting, we found out about the opposition. So anytime you have a special exception, one of the things we like to keep in mind is section 26-1 of the zoning ordinance, which says that the use must be deemed essential or desirable and in harmony with the needs of the community and the people who reside there. Upon learning of the opposition and the amount of opposition and the impact that they believe they would feel if this were to be expanded, it was the recommendation of the planning department that the petition be denied.
Thank you, Mr. Laney. Chair recognizes the Commissioner from the 4th. I'm gonna get to him.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you, Ms. Delaney. The residents have spoken very loudly in terms of what we like to see in our neighborhoods. And so with that being said, I'm going to make a motion to want to make sure.
Commissioner, would you hold on that and let me hear from the objectors, and then I'll come back to you for that motion.
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, I'm ready for.
The objectors, would you please come forward? Or your representative?
And again, the individuals approaching, they are in support of the petition. They would like to see the petition. They are opposed to the planning department's recommendation. Okay, just for clarity.
Hello.
All right, we have a spokesperson. If you would, state for the record your name and give us an address. Thank you.
Lakelia Glover. I reside at 2915 Vanessa Drive. The reason why we want to oppose the position is because we're looking to help other people. We're not trying to cause a confusion or a problem to the neighborhood. These people are unable to care for themselves. They cannot do the things that we can, and
I believe that they deserve to live in a good neighborhood as well. There's not a time that we could possibly may need help as well. So these people are bedbound. They are tube feeding, can't walk around, can't cause any problems, and can't harm anyone. So we just would like for the commission to at least reconsider changing their mind about the denial. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, I'll hear from the next individual. Okay. All right, very well. Okay. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the fourth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to everyone that's involved either for or against, and certainly I don't take your comments lightly in terms of what it is that you're trying to do. I definitely applaud that. But due to the recommended reason from the Planning Commission and the residents that are in opposition of this, I'm going to make a motion to agree with the Planning Commission to deny this petition.
Second.
All right, I've got
That's Mr. Mason and Ms. Scott.
Mr. Mason and Ms. Scott. We have a motion to deny in concurrence with the Planning Commission. Voting.
Thank you.
Ms. Scott, I'm sorry, Ms. McKnight, how will you be voting on this?
I'm gonna vote to deny, so that would be yes.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you. It's unanimous.
All right, Madam Clerk, I think I'm, all right. Looks like they might want to exit, so I'm going to give them an opportunity to exit the chamber before we proceed.
Ready?
I'm learning new words up here.
They go in Webster.
Right, that's right. From the doctor.
It's called, Ms. Bonner, it's called be miffed.
If you say so. Okay. Item number 11, sir.
That sounds good.
Okay. Item 11, a motion to approve the Law Department drafting an amendment to the Augusta-Richmond County Code to permit the Augusta-Richmond County Commission to place on the agenda an application for a rezoning of property within 6 months after denial of a petition to rezone that property.
Motion to approve. I'm just kidding. Chair recognizes the commissioner from the fourth.
It's coming. We just need some clarity. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
One of the things, and I'm going to pose this to the director, Mr. Mayor. Yes, sir. One of the questions I would have here, and I just want some clarity on it, with them coming back 6 months after the denial, now, is that coming back with the exact same thing, or are we talking about there's some changes being made and they're able to come back?
Most of the time, they do make some modifications, but you have had instances where they come back with the exact same thing.
Because if it's the exact same thing, I'm thinking the exact same thing can happen again. I just want to know what your feelings are on that in terms of the validity of that, just coming back with the exact same thing again after we've already said you have a whole slew of people constantly coming back.
Well, one of the things, it was brought to our attention at the Planning and Development Department by the Clerk of Commission is that the comprehensive zoning ordinance, which was amended and adopted in April 2013, references the state requirement. And the state requirement is cited in our ordinance under 35-8. And the state says that it's at least 6 months. So this isn't a criteria that we have arbitrarily placed in there. It's something that's a state level policy, and we're trying to make sure that we have consistency amongst our internal requirements.
And our policy now is what?
6 months. They'll come back before the Planning Commission in 6 months, but verbally, the way it was brought to me, verbally, it has been said from the commission floor that it's going to take a year, and they wanted to clarify that.
Oh, well, because I didn't think it.
No.
Oh, well, you.
Madam
Yes,
Clerk.
sir. In our rules of procedure, it has in there that no one can come back to the commission who has been denied a zoning petition for 1 year. That would be inconsistent with state law, which says 2 years. So state law trumps ours. So
It's 6 months.
6 months.
6 months.
6 months, not 6 weeks.
Right.
It's 6 months. Yeah, that's the difference. That was the difference.
So here we're just getting in line with what
State law.
State
That is
law is.
correct.
Okay. All right, move to approve.
Second.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Voting. We're going up
Mr.
yonder.
Dennis. Okay, Commissioner Scott, how will you be voting? Ms. McKnight. I don't know why. Must be the dark hair. The brunettes. Okay, how are you voting?
I'm voting yes to approve it.
Okay. It's unanimous.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Number 22.
Yes.
Okay. Item 22 is an update from the Planning and Development Department relative to presentation by Mr. Larry Freeman regarding the removal of a group home at 1710 Fairwood Court.
Seems to be my day. So on last week, we heard from a gentleman in regards to his concerns about a home on Fairwood Court, 1710 Fairwood Court. He was saying that there was a personal care home that he wanted to see removed from that location. We have done our investigation. We have looked at the property. We have visited the property. It is not a personal care home. There is a group home. It's not a group home either. It is a tenant with a spouse and 5 children.
Thank you.
To the mayor,
Hold on. Are there any questions from the commission for Ms. Delaney? I've got him. I'm coming to him. Okay. All right. Commissioner from the 6th. State your inquiry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask Director Delaney a question, please.
Would you pull the mic down, sir?
Yes, I'd like to ask
All right.
Director Delaney
Please.
a question, please.
Yeah.
Director Delaney, did you get any impression that they were, even though there's a family with 5 kids of their own, that they actually was giving any care for other kids that may be in defects or anything of that nature?
No, sir.
Okay. Were they questioned in that regard?
We are always cautious about asking ages of the occupants, or we have to be mindful of minors' defects. and fair housing in regards to questions like that. So we did ask the occupant if they were the owner, how many people resided in the house, and what was the relationship with the people who resided in the house.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Okay.
To the mayor and thank you for this opportunity to.
Could you tell me your name?
This opportunity to. I'm sorry, Larry Freeman.
Okay.
To the mayor and to the commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you again about this matter. I don't question your thoroughness on your investigation. However, she's bringing a current situation before she did her investigation. I personally saw the kids running around with an AK. I saw that myself. I saw the kids shooting an AK in the backyard. I saw that. I saw that they had dogs running around in the yard. Current, even now, where she has done investigation, there's a used refrigerator in the yard. There's an abandoned toilet in the back seat and in the backyard. I've seen this.
All right, Mr. Freeman, I'm gonna ask you to suspend. The matter that was before us was the concern around the removal of a group home. What you're presenting to us are your concerns about the upkeep and cleanliness of your neighborhood and/or homes in that. And I would ask you to address that in a different setting. We have our code enforcement team here. You can communicate with them, and they will work to support you in those efforts. Okay?
I'd like to ask one question, though, Mr. Mayor. Before she did the investigation, what happened to the children that were there before?
That's again, she've addressed the issue of a group home. I would ask you to proceed with your concerns around code enforcement.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The gentleman's going to meet you in the middle of the room back there in the back. Code enforcement, sir. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Widener.
Are we receiving this information?
We'll receive its information without objection. Next item.
Item number 23, Ms. Walton. Is petitioner here? Okay. Ms. McKnight, the previous item was received as information without objection. Okay.
We have a request by Leslie Watkins for a massage operator's license to be used in connection with These Hands Massage and Body Work located at 1 George C. Wilson Court, Suite A. This application has been approved by the Sheriff's Office and Planning and Development. Do we have any objectors to this massage operator's license? There are no objectors. State your full name and your home address.
Okay. I'm Leslie Watkins. Home address is 8621 Crenshaw Drive. I'm originally from Grovetown, Georgia.
Thank you. I've got a motion for the commissioner from the 6th with a second from the 10th. Voting.
Ms. McKnight, how will you be voting?
I will be voting yes to approve.
Okay, thank you. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
You still in order, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Item number 24. Motion to approve the use of the current job description approved by the Administrator Recruitment Process Subcommittee on May 12, 2020, and proceed with the recruitment process for a new administrator to be completed by November of 2022.
Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 7th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, I think this is important to start the conversation. Not sure where we're going to get today, but in the same respect, I think we have to have this conversation. As y'all all know, we've had an interim administrator for 6 months who's done a great job for this government. There's no doubt about it. I think we all can speak for that up here. Her communication skills, as well as her commitment to Augusta. And I think after what we experienced last time, that as far as for me, the commitment to Augusta is very vital. So we're not a stepping stone for our next administrator. Obviously, having the respect of the department heads as well as communicating with the department heads is vital in that role as well. The recruitment process that is being passed out by Ms. Bonner, you'll notice on the second page at the top, well, it might be the third page now, third page, I'm sorry, that when we recruited for the last administrator, we put basically an experience aspect of it at 3 to 5 years that basically wouldn't even allow, we didn't have any internal candidates because of how the credentials were so high that basically there was no opportunity for internal candidates. So my first thoughts are we need to talk about that experience to give the internal candidates an opportunity this time to apply. So that's one piece that I think we have to change up here to even have the conversation to move forward. The second piece is whether we're going to do an internal search or an external and internal search. My thoughts are that we do some form of GMA or ACCG search, maybe within the state. We keep it at a very tight time frame of 30 days. That gives the opportunity for the internal candidates as well to apply. But I think the main thing that we have to discuss is the approval of the experience, bringing that down, or like experience, maybe down to a year with like experience or 6 months, whatever that is, to where we can have the viable candidates that are within this government the ability to apply. But I think it's important that we move this process forward. I think so many people are like, why not wait for the new year? Well, we've already waited 6 months. And you know, why wait 6 more months? The commission is involved in this process. The mayor doesn't take this process and run with it by himself. So for those that are worried about that. And I think that I'm not sure whether an executive search team is even needed in my thoughts this time. But I think as long as the commission is engaged like we were last time with the top 12 candidates throughout the process, I don't see how we can't find the best candidate using the last time of going from 12 to 7 and then down to, I think it was down to 7 from the mayor. So I just want to start the conversation, Mayor, on this because I think it's vital that we get the ship moving in the direction with a leader and not the interim aspect, however that may fall out. But again, just want to thank Ms. Dow so far for what she's done. I think you've done a great job. I think, again, like I said, last time we didn't have the commitment to Augusta, and we put the qualifications so high that we had someone that was just here for a quick minute as a stepping stone. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Chair recognizes the Mayor Pro Tem.
I think Mr. Franum pretty much addressed what I want to say. I do think that even if we don't hire her, that our current interim administrator should at least be given an opportunity. So I would like to say that probably start the experience at 6 months. And I'm not sure if we should just keep it in state. Maybe we should just put it out there. We're going to put it out there. But I do think that our current administrator should at least be given an opportunity to apply. And I see we've got some other folks up here, so I'll just let them go ahead and make a statement before I make a motion. Okay. Or if they want to make a motion, it's fine with me.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm just going to go up the list, okay? give everybody an opportunity to be heard. Chair recognizes the commissioner from the 4th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just first, I want to get some clarity in terms of when it says proceed with the recruitment process for a new administrator to be completed by November 2022. Are you saying that is this alluding to the fact that a hire will happen by November 2022, or what are we saying here?
Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 7th.
Thank you. I would think that, I don't think we have to keep it open more than 30 days, and then it's 60 days to hire someone. That's 90 days. I don't see why we can't get it done in that time frame. It's my thoughts. But again, more I just ready to move the process on. If we can't get them by November, we can't get them. But,
okay. Okay, so with that, I'm going to respectfully disagree. My opinion differs slightly in that arena, not as it relates to those that want an opportunity to apply. So that means that we would, if you're talking about changing the terms of the number of years of experience and that sort of thing, don't really have an issue with that. But what I do have a slight issue with is that if we're talking about doing this in November, number one, there's 4 people that's going to be missing from this commission that won't be working with this new crew that's coming in, to include your new mayor, 3 new commissioners, and myself. And it would seem to me that it would be appropriate for at least, if nothing else, for them to be a part of the process. I know they don't have a vote, but I mean, at least somehow, I don't know how that would actually work if we're going to talk about doing it prior to them coming in. So I want to just put that out there that, we've got a new mayor, we've got 4 commissioners coming up, and for us to possibly bind, well, that's my opinion, Mr. Williams, for us to possibly bind this new commission to that, that's just something for you to think about. Now, you have your own vote, you can vote any way you want. I'm not asking you to agree with me, but I am putting that out there to make sure that we cover all bases. Now, in addition to that, I hear you quite often, Mr. Mayor, and most of us say the same thing. We're the 2nd largest, 3rd largest. We should act like it. We should be like it. We should do like it. I don't want to henpeck ourselves in terms of what may be out there and available for us to bring into this city to move it forward. It's not to say that who we have sitting here can't do that, but that we should not limit ourselves, in my opinion, to a small sample size when we're talking about moving this city to the next level, and we're the 2nd or 3rd largest city in Augusta, or a city in the state of Georgia. And so I would hope that we would give, as you're talking about this process, that we would have some robust discussion in terms of which direction that we're going in. And but I do want to say I'm not opposed to anyone having an opportunity to apply for this position. So I want to make sure that I'm clear on that. So those are my comments at this particular time, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner from the 4th. And I think they call it a fishing club now, not a henpeck club. That was an inside joke there. I'll comment on this from this vantage point as someone who's sitting in this particular seat. I know firsthand what it is to be on the outside looking in while this very same deliberation was taking place in 2014. And I stayed away while I did make one comment and said that, I would rather that they wait and welcome it. I'm on, both hands on the table, as I used to tell the dean of the commission. And the commission continued its process, hired someone, and I met them at a budget retreat in the fall of 2014, just as perspective. But I wasn't involved in the process. Chair recognizes the commissioner from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. While I'm not opposed to anyone applying for this position, I don't think we need to be in a rush to get it filled, because I think competent hands are handling the job right now. I can understand, you know, if people wanted to hurry up and get someone hired for this position. But if I had a motion to make, I'd make a motion that you go through the process but do no hiring until after the new commissioners are sworn in January and the new mayor takes this seat. They're the ones that's going to be working with this new administrator. It won't be four of us. So if anything, I would like to make that motion to proceed with the recruitment, but no hiring be done until after January the 1st of 2023. That's my motion. Thank you.
Second.
Who was that? Second? Mason. Hold on just a moment. Ms. McKnight is in the queue to
All right.
speak.
I'm going to go to Ms. McKnight now. Ms. McKnight?
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. McKnight, you have the floor.
Yes, I was just going to say real quick, it's kind of, I'm hearing you a little bit in and out, but piggybacking off of what Commissioner Mason and Clark said, I agree, waiting until the first of the year, getting a new mayor and commissioners in and starting the process then. That's what I feel, instead of making some kind of rush. There's no rush to do this. I don't see any rush to do it right now. So that's where I stand on it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay. He's not, okay, he's down there. Chair recognizes the Commissioner from the 6th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Two things I'd like to address. I do like my colleague, Commissioner Frantham's approach to this and giving everybody an opportunity to lower, in terms of being in an administrative position, to move that. But also I like the fact that I think the best thing to do is to wait if we can, because Mr. Mayor is not quite the same in terms of, 2014. For me, the difference is yourself was a elected official from the state of Georgia. They had government experience to the tune of around 8 to 9 years. Also, at the time that when the administrator was chosen in September 14, the process was already complete. It just, the previous mayor, Mayor Copenhagen, had made his selection to the body. He was not successful, and the commission to candidates was there. So the process was already complete. They didn't start a process. It was already complete, and so the commission made a decision from the two other candidates that was left. And I do think it's ideal to wait. However, I'm going to make a substitute motion, and I'll be honest with you, I hope it don't pass. And that is to, if you're going to proceed on, at least send this back to the Administrative Service Committee to have a robust conversation around what you actually changes you want to make, if you want to do that. So that's my motion. But I'm hoping that we could wait until the next administration choose the administrator.
Second.
All right, I've got a motion. I've got a substitute motion with a second. Chair recognizes the Commissioner from the 7th.
Thank you, and I love the dialogue, and I appreciate it. That's why I put it on here. My question is around the first motion, the maker of that motion. You're saying start the process, but you didn't mention whether it was an internal, regional. What kind of search are you recommending?
Commissioner from the 10th, speak into your microphone, please.
That would be entirely up to y'all.
Okay. I mean, okay.
I think we have good talent here in Augusta.
Okay.
And we got homegrown talent that I think does well.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Right. We have a substitute motion.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, hold on. All right, I'm coming back to you. I see you in the queue again. Commissioner from the 6th.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to modify my motion to get a clarity on my colleague's original motion. What's the original motion again?
His motion was to, Madam Clerk.
It was to proceed with the recruitment process and no hiring until January 2023.
So my question, Mr. Mayor, is even if we take in honor what he's saying, it still needs to go back to to the Administrative Service Committee for discussion to flush all this out, because it's still bland, changes need to be made and what have you. So it needs to send back to the Administrative Service Committee. We flush all that out.
So are you going to
make a motion to send it back to the Administrative Service Committee?
So that's what he did.
Your substitute motion is to refer this to the Administrative Services
Yes, sir.
Committee
For further review of the current
of the
process.
job description, et cetera.
Yeah.
Well, he has one,
Commissioner
Mr.
from the
Garrett
seventh.
seconded.
It's seconding
You can
that.
third it.
Okay. All right. I think you got enough to get it done.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah. Voting.
No, we just gonna send back to the Administrative Service Committee and get all
The
details.
substitute motion was to refer back to the Administrative Services Committee for further review of the current process.
Yeah. This isn't one of those moments, Commissioner, from the 6th where folks take a walk because they're not sure what they should be doing.
Obviously, you're right about that.
Okay, we have Mr. Dennis Williams here.
All right. Voting.
Mr. Garrett, yeah.
They haven't voted yet, Mr. Mayor.
No, I've called for the vote. I'm asking you to vote.
Oh, we send it back to the Administrative Service. Okay. Okay.
Mr. Dennis
Yes,
Williams
sir.
has a question.
Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 2nd.
Yes, sir. The motion made by Mr. Hassan, that doesn't include a deadline, correct?
I know it doesn't. Would you like for a deadline to be on
Say
that?
again?
Would you like for there to be a deadline on it?
No, I don't want no deadline. Okay, thank you.
Sending it to the abyss of nowhere.
Mr. Mason, are you going to vote, sir?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Thank you.
No, I mean, yes, yes.
Can't say that.
You're supposed to tell that. Ms. McKnight, how will you be voting, ma'am?
Take it back to the committee. I couldn't hear real well.
Yes, ma'am. To take it back to the Administrative Services Committee for further review of the current process.
Yeah, might as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, okay. That motion carries 9-1 with Mr. Clark voting no.
Number 26.
Yes, ma'am.
I've got to get off. Is that all right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay, stay safe. Stay safe. All right. Item number 36, sir?
26.
26. Call for an in-depth audit of the stormwater fee program to include all financial aspects, monies received, project salaries, contractors, and money paid.
Chair
Mr.
recognizing
Clark.
Commissioner from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, since I can't get a big bite at the apple, I'm going to see if I can't get a nibble. You know, every time we ask anything about any projects going on, we get two answers. Generally, we don't have the money or we don't have enough people. Well, the stormwater fee is a fee. Reason why it's a fee, instead of a tax, is a fee. You can go up and down whenever you want to on it, I believe, with approval of the commission. But we get a whole bunch of money in on stormwater fee, and the citizens of Augusta complain constantly, including myself, about what in the world's going on with the stormwater fee. We see people cutting grass on the side of the road, and it's normally 2 weed eaters and a blower. Sometimes you see a sign, your stormwater fee at work, and man, you can't find nobody nowhere around that sign cutting grass. The other day I saw the stormwater people out on the side of the road cutting side of the road in the ditches, and they was also cutting a private front yard. I don't think that's what stormwater fee is used for. We had a lady come in last week complaining about runoff from Calhoun Express into her backyard that is causing foundation problems in her house that the insurance company won't cover. Mr. Mayor, you asked, isn't that what I suppose our stormwater fee is used for? And I recall you never got an answer either. That's usually the answer, no answer. So I would like to take a good, hard, in-depth look at the stormwater fee, and I'm just not talking about the figures because, as we all know, we can put figures down and make them match anything. That's creative financing. I would like to see statements of where this money goes, how it's being spent, who receives it. I would just like a good in-depth audit of it. That is my motion.
What's the motion? Was there a motion?
That is a motion, to have an in-depth audit of the stormwater fee.
What was it?
Would you restate your motion, Commissioner? Okay, he said motion to approve. Second. I did. The mayor.
We'll give John a second. He deserves
That's
it.
a phantom.
He deserves it.
It did not. So I recognize the commission from the fourth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to ask, I don't know if it's finance or who, Mr. Mayor, as far as any previous audits or anything that's been done on the stormwater fee previously.
Okay, that's an excellent question. We've got the director of engineering here, and we've also got the individual who's responsible for that, I believe. All right, they're going to tag team. You get 2 for 1. Dr. Malik and Mr. Flight.
Yes, sir. So
The question before you is, has there been an audit, and if so, when and where and to what extent?
So we came back in February of 22 here at the floor. As far as the audit goes, I'm not sure because this the finance and administrative office goes, but we been bringing information, engineering bringing information back at the floor frequently. The last we came in February 2022, and we do have a summary right now. We can present it, and we give all the information, what was collected, where the money is going, and all the things. So.
Commissioner from the fourth, continue with your question, sir.
Can I find out
Yes.
from the finance director if
Director
she
Williams.
has any information in regards to that?
Hi, good afternoon. As a part of the whole of Augusta, Richmond County, the stormwater program, the stormwater fund is audited each and every year as a part of our financial audit. Now, down to a level of detail specific to how the program operates, is the financial audit is not done at that level of detail specifically geared toward just looking at the stormwater process. It is included and encompassed within the entire financial process that is audited for Augusta. So it's just the difference is a level of detail.
Okay, so you're the releaser of funds when they put a requests together or what have you? Is that how that works? They put in a request for?
Everything that goes through and is charged to stormwater goes through the same procurement process, the same budget approvals, the same payroll process. It follows every single process that Augusta uses to operate all its programs. It's subject to all those rules.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Chair recognizes the commissioner from the 6th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask Dr. Malik a question, if you don't mind, please.
Please.
Dr. Malik, I think, do you come before us twice a year to give us an update or just once a year around stormwater?
In general, twice a year. So came in February and
Okay.
probably going to come back very soon.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Mayor, and to my colleagues, I'd like to make a motion. Dr. Malik does say they have information now that we send it back and they make the presentation at the next engineering committee.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Second came from the commissioner from the 1st. That is a presentation at the next Engineering Services Committee meeting. Chair recognizes the chairman of Engineering Services, the commissioner from the 8th.
Thank you, Mayor. This question is actually for our finance director who just sat down. You can answer from back there if you want to. You said that you never really go into depth in regards to.
She'll come to the microphone.
Into this level of detail when we do the yearly audit for the stormwater program, when the rest of the audit is done for the city. So if we were to go into detail as Commissioner from the 10th is asking, what kind of time frame would it take to provide this information?
Depends on what time frame you want covered, mostly. I'm not sure. Anytime you specify that you want an audit, you have to specify for how long you want the audit and to what level of detail you want done. So,
okay.
Time frame.
Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't we just do the 5-year review of the stormwater program last year, or was that the year before?
Yes, sir. I think it was last year. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner from the 6th, you're still in the queue.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Commissioner from the 10th. Okay. All right. What is the motion, Madam Clerk, before us?
That a presentation be made of the stormwater program at the next Engineering Services Committee.
Mayor, I think the Commissioner from the 10th just stated he will not be here for the next committee. Could we defer this to 2 committee cycles so he can be here?
That's without objection. Yep.
So that will be the first meeting in September? Engineering Services? Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Then voting. And there's one final item on the agenda. It's an update regarding Calhoun and the flooding at the residences. No.
That motion carries with Ms. McKnight out. Item 27, receive update report from the Augusta Richmond County Risk Management Department regarding concerns of residents from Ellis Street relative to flooding of property from the Calhoun Expressway, and report back.
Madam Administrator.
Commissioners, I'll be giving this report on behalf of Risk Management as well as our engineering department. Staff visited the Ellis Street property, particularly the property located at 1912 Ellis Street last week, as well as Crankston Engineering visited several parcels yesterday. And I've also spoken with Ms. Johnson and Ms. Collins, who came to the commission meeting last week to update them on our proposed path forward. As a result, we have determined that an independent assessment is needed to determine liability both to Augusta as well as to the citizen In this vein, as I've stated, we've spoken with Cranston Engineering and have retained a property adjuster by the name of Mike Allgood to assist us with this process. So I would ask for you to allow us to continue forward and provide you with an update.
Without objection. Madam Clerk, I believe that's all the business before us.
Yes, sir.
All right, before we depart, we'll send out a communication with a proposed meeting time of 3 p.m. on Thursday for a broad discussion about the millage rate. It can be virtual. That's fine. August the 30th.
Who?
All right, we will communicate with the commission a date, time certain by noon tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
He's saying he's gonna be by Zoom?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We will send the full communication out.
I'm sorry, I thought you said Zoom.
Not later than noon tomorrow with date, time certain.